Sandy, how have you been?
Oh, I've been fine. Just busy with the women's workshop and now focusing on, well, now I'm stressed out because I'm going to Japan next week, and that's my biggest stress.
That is
You'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it.
Hey, Erin, what will I enjoy about it?
The atmosphere, the culture, it's
That
amazing.
long flight.
Love Asia. I love Tokyo. It's
You don't like
the,
the flight.
no, I don't even mind the flight. It's the 53 fit model pros that I'm going to have to decide who becomes the first. Has nothing to do with any of that. Has to do with my judging.
Sandy.
Oh man.
Sandy, that's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of question marks about fit model, and a lot of those are going to get answered.
I I hope I hope so. I already told everybody, including Tyler. I don't watch it anyway, but I definitely ain't looking at social media on Sunday and Monday.
Okay. How about this? Can you give us a general overview? I know it's hard, but can you give us a very brief general overview of what you are looking for in fit model, especially in Tokyo? That's going to be setting a standard.
Yeah, no, it is. And to be honest with you, yes, we want again. We you have. I think in the beginning, I think some athletes and coaches thought about like it's just somebody off the beach, somebody out of the gym. You still have to have some development. That's
Okay.
what this organization is about. You know what I mean? Is muscular, developing your muscularity is going to make you, especially for women, it's going to make us healthier and give us more longevity.
Sandy, I
You
do have
know,
a question for you on that instance. So I'm seeing a lot of these girls that are coming from bikini pros, and now they're going back down to fit model. Obviously, they probably want to downsize. But whenever it comes to like their shoulders or other muscular development, what are you looking for in that upper body region? Because it seems like some of these girls that are coming down, they have pretty developed shoulders. So I'm wondering what you're looking for in that instance.
okay, we're looking for just a little roundness to the shoulders. We're not looking for caps. And I actually did a podcast, a live IG last week. With Patrick from Fulgrim from Muscle Contest, and Becky also. Becky and I had done one too. And the thing is, I think because again at the women's workshop, I had a lot of the new fit model pros that came because they wanted me to look at them, because they're going to Japan, and some of them, not all of them, but some of them were like, like kind of upset that the bikini are dropping down. But I
Yep.
think, but I again, I don't never trained athletes or anything. But talking to trainers, everyone thinks it's going to be really easy for them to downsize the density,
It's not.
and keep the skin looking as good as it does when it's filled out with the muscularity,
Yeah.
and also coming down very symmetrical with the density.
Yeah.
And so both new fit model pros are going to have their, like their obstacles or things to get to overcome. But so is the bikini coming down. I
Yeah.
think, both groups are going to have their own obstacles. They're just going to be a little bit different.
For the handful who might not know who Sandy Williamson is, I want to let Drew give a brief introduction because we got a lot of questions that we want to jump right into.
Mhm.
All right, guys. So tonight, as we know, it is a big one. We're welcoming back someone who truly shapes the direction of our division, men's physique, and every other division for that fact. IFBB head judge Sandy Williamson. Her last appearance on Men's Physique Radio was packed with insight, feedback received that was incredible from competitors, coaches, things that I learned about myself, things that you guys have also learned. We don't
Or
put
even
on a
talk
lot of
about
other
Arnold.
we don't put on a lot of guests twice, but when there's insight and we do this, like Erin was saying earlier, for educational purposes, we're able to just ask her these bold questions and get these answers, and there's no strings attached, and we always appreciate you being honest with us, Sandy. So we're excited to dive deeper into tonight's episode, and we're just going to hear it straight from the source.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you no, seriously, thank you very much. And I'm so used to obviously talking to the female, side of it. And it's nice, you know what I mean? It's nice to be on here. So I'm very honored.
Yeah. Sandy, last time we had you on, probably the most impactful episode that we've had. It it spread so much value around to so many different people, and I think the best way to get the most out of this interview is doing it the same way we did before. I went through a lot of questions at you. We're going to jump to different topics and then again hear what it's like from the judge's perspective, because that's what we don't necessarily get an opportunity to see. And I want to start off with kind of where we briefly started with the fit model side. At one point, when fit model was announced, a lot of people were starting to hear rumors that there might be a male fit model division around the corner. Have you heard any rumblings? Is that something that the men can expect in the near future?
I mean, I don't think it's out of the, I don't think it would be a shock to, if it comments, because again, men's physique has evolved, just like bikini has, to a certain degree of muscle that a lot of young athletes will look like at you or look at Erin and they're going to go like, oh, that's way out of my league. So I do think that an entry level for men, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
would benefit the organization. Something that looks like, oh, I can do that. It's attainable for young, because that's really what we want into this organization, both from the female and the male. We want young competitors. When I get on stage, when I go to judge, especially obviously from the males, I mean, for the females, and I see a 22-year-old figure competitor, I look at Tyler and I go, that's your future. That's what you want to see.
That makes sense. So it's more going for the masses a little bit more.
Yeah. But
I
will
mean,
tell you,
I agree with Sandy because it's kind of like the whole sponsorship deals right now with the influencers versus the actual athletes. You know, the influencers are getting, and they're younger, like these younger guys, and they're doing it either for free or just for supplements, but you need the youth in every sport because like you think about basketball, football, baseball, they start at t-ball, they start off in pee-wees, they start off with the little red cats, you know what I
No.
mean? So
We see the league almost leaning more into the opportunity of highlighting a social media personality, especially if they compete. Look at Sam Sulek doing the Arnold Classic, right? There's legit posters made of him as somebody who's making a pro debut. You don't see that, right? But it's because of his name. Obviously, he's a great look. But I like that. I think I've seen a lot of I don't know, innovation when Tyler became more involved. I see him more reaching out to like the younger demographic and kind of seeing what he's doing with the Pittsburgh Pro, right? I think stuff like that is what is going to move the men's physique division and all of bodybuilding in itself forward. But like I said, I think this year is going to be exciting, and a part of that is just because of how heavily they're leaning into, like I said, the masses a little bit more.
well, no, and
Sandy,
that's what it is. I mean, it's social media obviously is where the young, whether people like it or they don't like it, it's part of the world, and especially our younger generation. And I will tell you, even when I did the women's workshop, one of the breakout sessions I do, and this we can talk about this because this is for both men and women. But I had Ashley Caldwell. I looked through all the pro bikini women that I had there. Ashley Kaltwasser and Lorelei Chapados had the largest following for social media. So we did a breakout session with them to talk about how to promote themselves as an athlete, how to promote themselves to sponsors. Then I also had a sponsor come and talk to the athletes on what as a sponsor, what do I say? What makes a sponsor drawn to an athlete, like how you present yourself, how you speak, you know what I mean, that type of thing. And I think that's one of the things that we as an organization in general fall down on. If you go, and I've said this to Jim before, this had to be 10, 15 years ago. I forget who won the Arnolds, but when Arnold interviewed him, he rattled off his sponsors like NASCAR does.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Jim back then, we need as an organization to educate our athletes to do the same. If you're say Evogen supplement and your athlete won the Arnolds, isn't he more valuable to you when he's out there saying, oh, I want to thank Evogen, you know what I mean?
That's a
Thanking
good
the
point.
Yes. And that's where I think we lack. We
Okay.
don't educate our athletes.
So speaking of social media, right? It's very hard not to know sometimes the presence of some of the athletes who you're getting ready to judge. A lot of them have millions, hundreds of
This was
thousands
my
of followers.
question.
I'm Sandy, I know it's going to be hard to answer this question, but is it, do judges have that in mind? Like, does that person sometimes get that extra look because of the number of followers that they have? Because we hear it often on, okay, I got to know where that face is coming from.
Is social media influencing the sport in a way as far as judging?
Okay, you're talking to the 74-year-old lady. I will be honest with you. No, I mean, seriously, because it has nothing. Well, you know what? But again, this is where you really need to talk to young, but it never comes up. And I will be honest with you. And I am very transparent. It's never come up at the table. I've never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really hasn't. I mean,
I don't, and I would have answered that question for you. I never thought it was a thing. When
Yeah,
I
I don't
first
agree
came
with
to
that.
the
I don't
industry
agree
in
with that.
2021, I only had 19,000 followers. I had zero sponsors winning the New York Pro and then going to my first Olympia. I had nothing.
but how
And
would
then
I
I
know
started,
how many followers you have? No offense, Erin. I ain't going to see any of your social media. But I
see,
don't. I
right?
mean, I don't look at individual athletes' social media to see
Yeah,
how
true.
many followers that they have.
Yeah.
I really don't. And to be honest with you, again, I can't talk for all judges, but
Thank
I
you.
know the women that are around me that judge. Most of our judges, well, actually, even the men, they have 9 to 5 jobs. You know what I mean? Unless it's something that pops up on their individual feed, like unless it's something that pops up on my women's workshop or my junior nationals, I really don't. I really don't see
Mhm.
it. And all I'm doing is looking at the whatever the post is. I'm not looking at how
The
many
personal
followers
page.
somebody has.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got a different framing to this question. So, regardless of social media, would you say that placings have ever been influenced by popularity as a whole?
Ooh,
So let's say you don't have social media, but you see a big banner of Sam Sulek on the way to the venue for the Arnold. Wouldn't he kind of be in your mind as like a front runner since they're advertising him?
no, I mean, no, not from a judging. This is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be honest here. I mean, I go to lunch sometimes, or I have coffee with athletes, and you've not placed in the top 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because I think with especially now with social media, it's so much more. And I say this at all my judges meetings, and I mean, Tyler and I talked about this. There's not a judge I know personally that I'm close to, and I judge with almost everybody that goes to a show and is going to pick somebody because of a sponsor or a gym because they're going to get killed on social media.
Yeah.
Do they does maybe the right athlete in everybody's mind doesn't get picked? Maybe it does, but it's because the judge just we're human and we made a mistake until AI judges. But I'm telling you, with social media, every judge does. We talk about this. Like I'm stressed. I've been judging 44 years. I am stressed to the hilt about next weekend.
Just to get it right, the feeling of wanting to get it right.
Yes, to get it right, because again, and again, it's the same for every show. You don't, well, first of all, I don't want to not destroy, but you know what I mean? I want the division to go in the right, in the right direction to begin with. But that's with anybody. I mean, when you look back at the Olympia, and bikini, nobody came in, because I tell this to every athlete. Like when I talk to Lorelai, Ashley, it doesn't matter who, I look at them, I would say the same thing to Erin. You want to make my job easy? Please just come out on stage at the Olympia and tell me you're the winner. I don't want to think about it. I just want to know who the winner is. But like in Olympia, at the Olympia bikini, nobody kind of did that. Everybody in that top 6 had a little bit of faults. You know what I mean? So as a judge, you're trying to weigh what you think is still closer to the ideal. And in your mind, everybody's good, no matter whose camp everybody's in, that everybody's going to destroy you on social media. No matter how, how good of the job you try to do.
The more you speak, the more questions I just want to throw at you.
Go ahead.
You said something about the bikini division. A lot of people don't know. That's one of my favorite divisions, not only to coach, but outside of men's physique. I have to know from your perspective, because I know you have a lot of say when it comes to sitting at that table. What did you see at the Bikini Olympia and Maureen? What did you see for her to take it home?
Okay. I thought again, there was no clear-cut winner, okay? And I will tell you, I think people realized from Tyler's podcast that that he didn't, he went a different direction. You know what I mean? But if you looked at the scores, the panel in general went in one direction. It wasn't a 1 or 2 point difference there, I don't think. I think it was, you know what I mean? It was Maureen was a clear-cut winner. And I think part of it is because a lot of the judges, and myself included, I don't want to see bikini. Everybody thinks because a fit model, bikini can get bigger now and harder.
Yep.
And I don't, and Tyler and I have talked about this. Tyler agreed, I mean, it's Tyler's organization. He is obviously the one that's going to decide what direction it's going into. But Tyler and I, if you look back on the judging, and even Tyler will tell you, him and I do judge a lot alike. Okay. I thought Maureen was a little bit on the softer side. Okay. But I thought she was more balanced. I liked Ashlyn's conditioning, but she's still not quite balanced. She still needs a little bit more fullness to the legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, so I think that for me, that's what it was. I'd rather see us go a little bit soft. Jim used to say to me, we can always go forward. It's hard once you go pick hard or big to go backwards.
That makes sense.
And I think that's what because none of the winners, nobody came with that clear cut, like Lorelei the year before, or Jen Dory the year before that. You know what I mean? Nobody walked out and said, I'm the winner today.
That makes sense.
Sandy, I think that her presentation said I'm the winner. The way she walked out, she dominated that stage. I think that was a big deal.
And you're absolutely right. And that's when we talked about fit model, that's one of the things that is going to drive fit model, because the bodies a lot of them are going to be so close. It's going to be that presentation. And we've seen that in bikini. Now, a lot of these are young, so I don't know if you remember Amanda Latona. Her body was she always got a place or two higher because of her stage presence.
Wow.
Jessie Palmer was the same way. When she used to walk out in bikini, she just had such a classy look, and it was like it just drew your eye to her. And I think that's what you're going to see in fit model too.
Does that happen in men's physique? Can you see presentation move a placing?
Absolutely. Hands, yes, absolutely. And I want to say, because that confidence is what comes across.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And just like you said, Maureen had that confidence. You know what I mean? And I tell that to athletes all the time. I don't think an athlete sometimes realizes how important their own confidence is, because Angelica, a couple of years ago, when she won the year before and then got second or third the second year, she said backstage, she's told this to everybody. She said, you're the last person now that comes out. It's like an hour into the presentation. And she said, I just started to look around and I was like, my God, they look good. This girl looks good. This athlete looks good. And she said, I let it get to my head.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. It makes a difference when you walk out with that confidence that says, I'm the winner. I will guarantee. Obviously your physique has to be at that level, but that's going to help you.
I see. Go ahead.
This is a question for bikini, because as I do coach as well. Is there a difference when it comes to a taller athlete and a shorter athlete posing for women's bikini?
That's a good question for men's physique too.
Yeah. I think the only time it would actually hurt maybe the taller athlete is when they're conscious, especially for women, I think, when they're conscious of their height and they try to they try to downplay it away. But I also see that with the men's physique. I still see it. We still try to always crunch down, bring the abs in or whatever, and I also think, especially with men's physique, with the men's division, but with men's physique in general, I think one of the biggest things that hurt the men's physique in posing is the extraneous poses because they see one of the, don't be wrong, they'll see like a Brandon or a top Olympia do something, and so they think, oh, I can, yes. Well, they're gonna, well, yeah, because you just won or you got, top 5 at the Olympia, so obviously it must be right.
Yeah.
But I will tell you from a judging standpoint, all the extra poses starts to frustrate the judges because, because you don't hold long enough for us to assess.
Yeah.
And it really does. And you would think after all these live IGs and podcasts that we do, and I had a bikini girl do a front double bicep.
I remember.
See, Sandy, that's one thing I've told my posing clients as well is just take the foo-foo out. All you got to do is your front money shot and your back money shot. Get off the stage. If you want to add a small transition, do that. You know what I mean? But all the extra stuff, and you've seen me over the years. I've taken out a lot of things that I used to do. You know what I mean? From going over the head, which Bill hates. He hates it. He was like, bro, if you ever do that again, I'm never putting you. But you have to take out some of those things to kind of even just master and just your craft. You have to become a better poser. And especially when you talk about the confidence and stuff like that, once you master it and you practice it, the confidence only skyrockets.
Well, Erin, one of the things is the more you do, the more weaknesses you're going to expose on stage.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these people, they're overdoing it. And you may not have the obliques to do the Erin little thing, and then you might not have the back to do the certain moves that you're doing. So really keeping it simple. And Tyler mentions this all the time. You do your front, just like you said, Erin, your back, and get off the stage, because if you sit there and you start doing all these other things, you're going to expose really bad things in your physique. Trust me, you're not Mr. Olympia. You don't have everything worked out.
When you go to once you start getting to the bigger regional shows or the pro qualifiers where there's a lot more athletes, judges are looking at hundreds of athletes. And you all know when you first come out in that first, the set of groups, judges are putting down, like, and I told this before last year when we did this, all I do is I mark down, okay, this, like I had 20 girls or 19 girls this year after the bikini got done, thinking those girls could be in my first call out. So you, as an athlete, you want the judges, you want to walk off and you want the judge to go, oh, I got to see that athlete back again. But if you've been out there and I marked down all these like faults I want to, that I can give you as feedback, you're out of my list now. You know what I mean? So leave the judges wanting more. If I'm telling you, that is one of the best things a new athlete could learn.
Okay.
So who would you, before you just quick, who would you name as one of the better or the best couple posing coaches for bikini?
Oh, don't know.
That one I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Okay. I was trying to get him in trouble. That's smart, Sandy. But no, I was gonna ask you this because you mentioned something.
Oh, wait, go back. I will tell you, one of the best posing coaches, by far none, Sid Gillen.
I'm watching her on Beast Games right now. I'm literally watching her on Beast Games. So I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I did have a question regarding pros versus amateurs, because you mentioned like the amateur level, the regional and the national level, you wanted to keep it simple. When it comes to the pros, do you give them a little bit more leeway to kind of add more personality into it? Or are you still with the same mindset of keep it simple, front, back, front, off?
Well, I think as a pro, as an amateur athlete, you get like 10, 15 seconds, at the bigger shows. You, as a pro, you get a minute. But again, the same thing, though, still applies to you. I don't think a pro needs to, I just, getting back to Fit Model, I just did a workshop right at the end of the year in Vegas. And so there were a couple of the girls, new fit models that are coming to Japan. And they were all like about the 10 seconds, you know what I mean, and stuff. And so we went through the 3 girls that were there. We went through their routine and we timed each of them. And one was 9 seconds, one was 10 seconds, one was 11. But all 3 of their routines was exactly what they needed to show. And they all went away like, oh, they're right. The 10 seconds works out just well.
Okay.
And so I think as a pro, I don't think you need the whole minute. I mean, don't be wrong. I think as a pro, you earn that time on stage. You know what I mean?
I think it's just because of the entertainment of the whole,
Yes.
the event, but I don't even use the whole minute. You know what I
No.
mean? I've learned to cut it back to either 30 seconds or even 40 seconds to kind of give the shows the hoorah and then get off the stage.
Well, now again, don't forget at that level, whether it's the Olympia, the Arnolds, the Pittsburgh, you all have your fans that are there watching, whether they're
Absolutely.
in the audience or whether they're on live stream, and they want to see a little bit of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes,
That makes sense. All right. Olympia qualification system. Last time you were on the podcast, you opened up and you said that it is a headache judging those 70 plus athletes who walk across that Olympia stage. And now fast forward a year later, almost to the date, there's a big change. All right. Did you have any say in the change, and how do you feel about getting ready to judge a new qualification system at the Olympia?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of torn. Don't be wrong. Everybody talked about it. Tyler got input from multiple people on stuff, and I think everybody knew somehow we have to limit how you can do it. And I'm not and they might, after this year, they're gonna take it back and reevaluate it again to see if it works, because you got to find something that works for the athlete.
Mhm.
Okay. But also you don't want to limit as a business, you don't want to limit the amount of pro shows, especially because we have so many now smaller countries that are doing the pro qualifiers or having the shows, and they want to have that pro division with it.
Yeah.
And so yes, so I think having the athletes have to win too, is nice, because if you just go to one smaller show, you know what I mean? At least now when you come in, you've got 2 titles. You think, I actually am curious to see if that really limits our numbers.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because I think
I only think it's going to limit the number by 10.
no, way more than that.
No, because out of United States, there's still less guys that could even come here, and a lot of the guys that made up last year's Olympia were from other countries.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it,
Understand there was also people who qualified. A lot of people have already qualified.
yeah. So there's 113 shows in, if I'm not mistaken, in 2026. So if you have to win 2 shows, so you just divide that even that that's like 55, 50, whatever it is, right? So just that in itself, say everyone has to win 2 shows, there's 100, whatever. So that number in itself is going to be cut. You're right, Erin. Some already did qualify. Some are already qualified as well. So that can take from the number. But I think there's still going to be around, you know what? Now you're thinking about it, Erin, you're still going to be around 55, 65 people.
They're going to be up there.
I'm thinking there's going to be at least 50, 50 in the bigger, like
I
you
think
said.
it'd be like 2021 or 22.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, being that I have trouble remembering 24,
Or Erin and Brandon, you guys can just go run like 8 shows this year and do the league and all the fans a favor and just show out. It's going to a 2-man league, and then
Nah, Erin, take a seat. I'm coming.
But you also have obviously past Olympia winners that don't have to qualify. But I will also, I'm gonna put this out as a I don't know what you say, shout out to Ashley Kaltwasser, because when she told me she came to do a show in Northern Cal last year, and we were talking about the point system and stuff, and I said to her, she said she was going to Argentina. She does like to travel, so she was going to Argentina to do a show. And I said to her, I said, but Ash, you're already qualified. You know what I mean? And this was her answer.
But I'm gonna tell you something, Sandy. I spoke to Tyler. I'm not qualified. You have to call the office to get qualified. So if you are a past Olympian within, I think, the 4 years that they give you, you have to reach out to the office to get your name put on the list.
Oh, wow.
Well, either way, Ashley looked at me and said, no, Sandy, if I'm an athlete, I'm going to qualify like every other athlete.
Absolutely.
And
that's why I compete.
Yeah. And that's exactly. And even getting back to, like you said, with, what do I say? Like, some of the bikini girls, even last year and stuff, not complained, but were upset because people like Ashley or, Ashley, people that were already qualified did other shows. And to me, if you're an athlete, you're going to go to whatever show you want to go to. And if you don't want that other person to win, then go there to beat them.
Beat them, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was
Guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have a paddle tournament that I'm going to go play. This is my first paddle tournament.
This is why he had the call to get into the Olympia, because he does paddle. And Tyler thinks he's going to leave the league to go do paddle. So this is why Erin has to call. No other Olympia winner has to call Tyler. He has to because of this.
Wait, what, I don't know, what's a paddle tournament?
Oh,
so
my
paddle
God.
is like tennis and racquetball put together. It's
That's
a new
pickleball.
No, so it's different from pickleball. But they're very similar. But the paddle courts they're caged in by tempered glass, and it's more of a fast-paced game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me find. Is this it, Erin?
Let me see. Which one? Yeah, that's it.
Because I'm going back to learn pickleball because I used to play racquetball all the time.
Yeah, so racquetball and tennis is the combination of paddle.
Oh, okay. I have to look at that one.
Don't hurt yourself.
Oh, you'll have a blast. You'll have a blast. I got Ryan Terry over there practicing this game.
I saw that.
And I saw that Ryan Terry's a manifest athlete.
No, he's not a manifest athlete. He just actually wore manifest.
He wears it. He wears it. He supports.
He supports, man. It was one of.
You know what, though? I have to give a shout out, though. I'm really impressed with the amount of men's physique that has supported your company.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
I know it's nice. It's real. I mean, obviously, don't be wrong, because I never really looked at men's shorts before, or I never looked at them really until, seriously, until, I got involved with you. And I will tell you, I think your short, I can tell the board shirts that you make, even without looking at that logo. And it just amazes me at how many, though, that the younger athletes have supported your brand. And I like to see that they're supporting another athlete.
Yeah. And every time I remember you'll text me some photos of athletes, and every time I'm at a show, I still get the same chills as the first day. So, we started, and I appreciate people like Erin and so many others who kind of, believed in it early and, kind of helped elevate it to the masses. It's crazy. I never imagined this.
My photographers, because a lot of Chris and them. Bye, Erin. Good luck.
Thank you.
But Chris and Cliff, they already know. They'll say, "I know, Sandy. I'll send you the pictures from the manifest athletes."
You guys, you're the best, and your support too. It's been a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to Worlds. That is going to be one of the biggest shows. I cannot wait. All right, before anything else, I know I'm going to throw tons more questions at you.
No, go ahead.
Can we talk about Worlds? Can we just talk about how?
Absolutely. Really, you think I'm hoping someone was going to talk about it. But I want to say, first of all, Erin, Alex, I want to thank you. Where we didn't talk about like the men so much as a community, I will tell you what you brought to the World Classic last year was a community. Yeah. Meeting your dad and meeting the athletes that came with you, even Erin. Now that he's off, I'm going to say this because one of the new pros, because at the World Classic for both bikini and men's physique, it's the only show in the U.S. right now, except for the North American, because those Masters winners can compete at the Worlds. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's the only other show that a men's physique or a bikini winner can win their pro card and then turn around the same day and compete as a pro. And so, yeah, having you there last year I was so happy that we did the men's physique. But one of the things with Erin is, again, the athletes have to go backstage. They still have to, join the IFBB Pro League. And one of the athletes couldn't afford the money, and Erin paid for him. I found that out after.
That's awesome.
No, again, that's the pros giving back. And that's what happens at my women's workshop. all those pros come. I've never asked a pro because I always said, why would I can't, because it's a conflict of interest. I'm going to judge you at Olympia or Arnold's, whatever. Who's going to say no?
Yeah.
And I pay for all the hotel rooms, but I can't pay for all the travel. I do split whatever money I have left over. I do split among the pros, but it's a couple $100. You know what I mean? It's not going to pay for airfare and stuff. But they all come anyway. And they're not the top. I mean, so obviously a lot of them are the top Olympians, but I have a lot of them that are that second and third call outs, and they are willing to give back their time. And I just thought that was so cool that Erin did that for that athlete backstage.
Sandy, you know what's so unique about bodybuilding? A lot of the people who compete in this sport, somehow bodybuilding has saved their life or gave them deeper purpose, right? So when you see athletes who are starting to make a name for themselves and putting themselves in a situation there where they weren't in the past because of the sport, it is so easy to get back to it. And I see Drew doing it often with all the people who message him and tag him about the podcast. You know, whenever I see him out in public talking to people about the podcast, it's impactful. And the sport specifically has changed our lives in ways where it's even hard to express, because I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have bodybuilding, or better yet, bodybuilding didn't give me the platform. And I think about that every once in a while, especially now that I have my son. I sit here and I was like, at times it's very easy to pick and point at bodybuilding for a lot of the things that, you know, make be wrong in our lives, because there's a double-edged sword with it. But in the same breath, I don't know what I would do without it. I don't know where I would be without it. You know?
Well, I will tell you, at the women's workshop this year, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's grown so much, is because I had an athlete that had Parkinson and got her pro card before her symptoms are going to get too bad. I had a girl that had a colostomy. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. We have so many athletes at this sport, including myself, you know what I mean, that it actually saved their life. Yes. Or gave their life richer meaning.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Let's jump into this. I know, actually, we'll jump back to World, but I do want to ask you about the Olympia. I want to be in the judge's chair. This was seemingly a close battle. I'm curious to know what you saw specifically from Ryan Terry. Do you think that there's anybody right now who is close to him that could potentially dethrone him and stop him from breaking the record?
Yeah, the 4 guys you got right there on the screen with them.
Fair enough. Did you?
That's all I'm saying. I'm dead serious. Allie, obviously, Allie, second. You know, again, great physique, great physique and stuff. And I think sometimes it comes down to that confidence that, I think, because I've judged, Ryan Terry now for years and stuff. And I think it's that confidence that comes, that he portrays now, because he knows he's in his element, which I think before he always didn't quite have that oomph when he walked out on stage. You know what I mean? Like, he knows he's good. Yep. Yeah. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but just in a physique way. Absolutely.
He said it himself too. I know he said that, it's not in his character to kind of hype the crowd up when he would walk out and stuff. And now he just kind of has the feeling, and that goes to show that it's genuine.
Yes. If you could go back to that back pose, that is one of the, okay. Look at, now again, the only one that can rival Ryan for the back is Erin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Then let me ask you this about Erin. What have you seen over the last couple Olympias where he's placed 3rd and then fallen back to 4th that you think that he needs to do to get back in front of the 2 guys who are currently in front of him?
For chest.
Well, 3 guys.
He needs more fullness from the front, especially in that upper chest. He's still flatter in that upper chest, and I just think, and some of it could be the way he poses and stuff, but and you know what though, he needs a little, if you look, well, again, we're looking at video here, but I think Ali is a little bit more conditioned, had a little bit more detail.
I would agree.
Eric, yes.
Okay, so I think so this is what I see. I see Erin, he without a doubt has put on more muscle since he's won the title in 2022. All right. But I think sometimes with that muscle, there was a trade-off in conditioning and detail. And I was wondering if you saw the same thing in the sense of if he brought in the same conditioning and detail that he had from 2022, would he be back in the winner's circle? Because personally, I believe Erin has the best structure on this stage. I think his back is the best on this stage. And I think his balance from top to bottom is equal to the other guys who are in that conversation as well. So if I point out all of these things he has, I feel like there's one missing thing that he doesn't, right? The detail, the separation.
I think it's just the detail's not quite there yet. Like you said, like he was in 2022.
Okay. Because again, and with conditioning typically being in the control of the athlete, I think he has an opportunity to be right back in that top conversation again.
I think it's a mixture of both, Alex. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he added so much size to his frame in a short period of time because he wasn't doing this really long. He's a hyper responder. I think that new muscle tissue didn't quite mature yet. So I don't think it's just conditioning. I think it's just how long it's actually been on his body to solidify. I don't think it's quite there yet.
That makes sense.
No, and that could, yeah, absolutely. That's a good,
That's hard to peak someone like that too, because you're used to doing things for years, being at a certain size, and you're adding in a different factor of more muscle. And you know that, Drew, for how much you've grown. I mean, and how much food you're eating. That changes a lot. So,
Sandy, there was a lot of movement last year at the Olympia, specifically in the guy who ended up placing 6th place. I'm not sure if you remember him. He's right here in the red shorts. His last name is He. He ended up in the second call outs and found his way all the way up to top 6. There is a lot of conversation right now about him, and I can actually pull him up on Instagram if you want to see him a little bit closer. But we need to know if you've seen him from the judge's perspective as somebody who can be a threat to the title, because based off of a lot of the conversations out on social media.
Yeah, he's a young kid.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's got, oh my God, he's got great. Yeah, no, he's got great. You can see he needs more detail in his back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if he's able to close that gap, add that detail in the back, you can see him battling it out with those top 4 who we just showed?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there a such thing as a freak factor being a negative? Because when I look at this physique, this screams freak factor. The shoulder, the waist.
It's proportion. It's proportion, though. It's not out of whack. Like, it's in balance with everybody else. If you put him in the call out, he fits in it.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. He's got to be careful that the arms and the shoulders don't get any bigger, because balance is going to always, obviously a freak factor can get you noticed, but when you start to compare them on stage, then that'll come to light to the judge, to the longtime judges.
If you sit him next to Ryan, you can tell how balanced Ryan is compared to him. That's what I think the biggest difference is between them two. And yes, Alex, you're right. He has a crazy freak factor. That's a full chest, looks amazing. But whenever you look at Ryan, it's very, very hard to find a weakness on him at all. It's just everything flows. His presentation's there. I mean, it's across the board, man. It's almost perfect. It's one of the most perfect physiques we've seen on the stage, if we're being honest.
Yeah, and that's the important part. To be honest with you, you don't want a freaky body part, because you want it all to blend. And that's almost every division you're in. Doesn't matter what division we're talking about. It's the balance that is going to give you that win and give you longevity.
Okay, so when you say balance, right? So a lot of the questions seem to still be around how much are legs judged in men's physique. And I'm guessing that's what you're referring to when you say balance.
Yes. Yeah, because now, because of the height and weight cap, we look at to see if they've got, otherwise we'd have everybody with upper bodies and no legs so that they could make height and weight. And that was one of the first things that Tyler put out, when we did judging, seminars and stuff, and, judging calls was about you have to look at the development in the men's physique, especially when you get to those bigger shows. You know what I mean? Sometimes somebody, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What I was going to ask is, do you think they're ever going to make a weight class for nationals, so national level competitors? Because we have seen some of the men's physique guys be pretty dang big on that stage, and they're able to compete. But then whenever they go to be pro, they're over their weight class and they need to come down. Has that ever been a discussion of having a weight cap for nationals or no?
I mean, it hasn't yet. Is it something that, that I would be, again, that I would be surprised about if it comes about? I wouldn't, I wouldn't,
Mhm.
because that's one of the things that we do at the world. I have to do at the junior nationals is all the men, Tyler and I talked about this. All the men have to, both the athletes are going to compete as a pro, and then the athletes that are at the junior nationals that are trying to get their pro card, they all have to get height, and all those amateurs have to get height and weight on Thursday, or they cannot. If they win, they cannot compete on Saturday without that.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. No.
And I just want to give you a shout out. I did that show, your show, back in 2021 or 22, and it was the best national show I had ever done. So the host hotel is literally the doors open and you go right into the venue right across the street. And I've never been less stressed in my life to get backstage, get pumped up. I literally was napping. I was watching the live stream at about 2 classes before I went up. I walked through the doors, went back. Terrence Ruffin gives me the bands. We pump up. And I'm not joking, 15 minutes from me napping, I'm on stage competing.
That's close call.
Best experience of my life. So I have to give you a shout out. Like, it was great.
Well, thank you. But I do. I love that whole setup there. I mean, obviously we have a great stage because of Doug Green. I mean, you're not going to get somebody that's done the Olympia stage for 15 years and also now does the Pittsburgh Pro stage. But from an athlete standpoint, I don't think that obviously is as important, but it's the convenience.
Yes.
It's like you said, I love the State Bridge because it has microwaves and refrigerators for everyone. We're on that side of the convention center that you walk outside that door. And then with Alan and Becca Sizemore and the Tennessee team backstage, yes, I'm never going to find another team that has customer service like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. And one last caveat. The backstage area is humongous.
I was just about to say that, bro.
It's the best part about it, because I hate being crammed in with everyone and just smelling tan and dirty armpits. And it is amazing. Okay. That's all. I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah. And Gilco, if I'm not mistaken, is he shooting it this year, right?
Yes. Gilco will be there. So you get, yes.
Is it crazy? I literally, I will message Gilco or look at his specific schedule to make sure he's going to be at a show that I'm competing in.
No, he does. They're the best. I put out that promo the other day, the recap, I should say, from last year, and it's like the live stream. It's like he just does such a great job.
Yeah. Can you let everybody know the specific date of the show? I believe we're about 17 to 18 weeks out. So it is an opportunity to get your pro card and then compete as a pro for pros currently.
17, 18 weeks. I think is that it? Oh,
yeah, it's right around the corner. I got some clients getting ready to start their prep for it, and it's crazy how quickly it's creeping up. It's crazy.
Yeah, but no, it is. It's June 19th and 20th. It's going to be the same setup as last year. We'll start, with obviously the pre-judging starts at 9 o'clock, and then the finals start at 4. We're going to start obviously with men's physique though with the finals, so we switched that a little bit because they come in the middle in the pre-judging, but then at the finals they're going to start first, so that those 8 athletes then have a chance to join the IFBB if they so choose, and then they get a little bit of a just to kind of decompose, decompress and stuff, so that they can get on stage with the pros. Again, use all no different. I mean, use all might have a different opinion, but I always, when somebody wins their pro card and they come to me and say, "What do you think I should do?" I always tell everybody, there's so many pro shows. Go to wherever you're already in shape. You won your pro card with this. Go to the next pro pro show that's geographically and works in your thing, because you're already in shape. And the junior nationals is giving those 8 men's physique and 8 bikini winners the chance to do it in the same day, to get real feedback and see how they're actually going to look on stage with the other pros. Because I know so many times athletes think I've got to be bigger, or I got to be harder, or and then sometimes when they take a couple months off to make that transition, they should have been focusing on something else.
That makes sense.
Well, Sandy, to your point, the winner of the men's physique overall placed top 10 at that show and was able to see himself next to some pretty good athletes. So that feedback is perfect. And I know he went right into an off season after that, which was probably very beneficial to him. So your literally talking about what one guy did, and it made a world of a difference probably in his head after that.
Yeah, no, because like you said, then again, and even for the women, if they need to be a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller, then they can say, okay, I did my first pro show. I'm going to off season. And then you can come back again. I think this is great for all the new pros. Come back in the fall. The Olympia athletes are probably not going to compete right after the Olympia. That's a great place as a new pro to try to go in and either win a show or get some points for for that next year.
Great point. That's a great point.
Speaking of the Olympia, it used to be in September, I believe, in 2019.
Yep.
It was. Yep.
For years.
Was the goal since COVID, and again, that's the reason why I was pushed out, was the goal to always come back a month each year until it got back to September? And can we expect it to stay in September?
I think that's what, that's what they're looking at. The problem, I think, and again, I'm just talking my assumption here. I know, from listening to people and talking to people, that the problem is with the venues, especially in Vegas. Though the big IT, the big show, some of those big conventions, they're booked out 3 and 4 years ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So sometimes it's hard, to get one.
Do you think that there's ever a world where the Olympia goes international?
It used to. Oh yeah, it's been in Europe a couple times and stuff. But this is kind of just like with the Masters Olympia. The data said from Romania in 2023, 72%, I think it was around 72% of the athletes were US based.
Mm-hmm.
Even into Japan, it was 77%. So as much worldwide as we have, you know what I mean? I just think it makes sense. Yeah, because
South and Central America too, we have a bunch of athletes from there. So that's pretty close to us. So I would almost loop them in with us.
No, go out. Yeah. I mean, muscle contest has grown. Brazil and South. Oh yeah, they've got I think 80 shows in Brazil. But yeah.
I was actually getting ready to ask you, what country has impressed you the most in, I don't want to say in bodybuilding, but from what you've seen, what country brings the most impressive physiques on average?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say Brazil from the standpoint of how much it's grown in the sport. But
Sandy, that's an inside joke. Sorry, it's inside joke.
But me as a judge, I love going to Brazil though too to judge, but I love going to Asia. I love going to the Asian market. I tell athletes all the time, just the cultures and they're welcoming there, and it's just a warm. I mean, I've been to Singapore and China and obviously Seoul and Tokyo and the Philippines, and every country I've gone to in the Asian market, I have just really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm actually looking to compete in Asia this year for the first time. I love competing internationally. I know Mexico's not too far, but it's still a completely different culture when you get there. I had an amazing experience when I was there. India was an amazing experience.
And you know what else for you is a lot of these international amateur athletes, they don't get to see the American athletes.
Yes,
absolutely. And I think sometimes here in America, we don't appreciate so much what we have here. Yep. You know what I mean? And then when I used to go overseas with the World Championships, it was always the same way. Oh my God, our athletes were bombarded because they don't get, they're not over there that much. So I think it's so cool now that all of you travel so much, internationally to compete.
Great for the sport.
Yes.
All right, Sandy, if you have two physiques with the same presentation and the same level of muscularity for their individual frame, I have to know this. The only difference is the height. In your eyes, who do you think will likely walk away with it? Presentation, muscularity is all the same. One's taller, one's smaller.
I'm trying. I would see, to me, it would be the presentation, the confidence, the presentation is going to be the deciding factor. Because you have, Usually the shorter athlete has a little bit more fullness and stuff because they don't have as much real estate to fill out. You know what I mean? And the taller athlete, again, has a lot, it takes a lot longer to get there. You know what I mean? Because you do have so much more, but I love the line. Well, see, with the women, I love the lines of the taller athletes. It's just that lots of times they need to be fuller to compete. You know what I mean? To compete against the shorter athletes, because again, smaller frame, you just look a lot fuller.
So we have a 5'5" Terrence Ruffin and a 6'2" Terrence Ruffin. Who's taking it?
That's a better way to phrase the question. That's a better way to phrase the question.
I'll answer
be
for
the
you,
taller
Sam.
guy.
6'2" Terrence
Well,
Ruffin.
you really are going to put me on the spot here, so I'm not going to look at social media once this goes live. It's probably the 5'5" Terrence.
Oh, come on, no.
Really?
Hey, Alex, we're wrapping up. We're quitting.
Really?
We're quitting. Discrimination.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so listen.
Because Terrence Ruffin is 5'5", so I think it would be if there was a 6'2" version of him, it wouldn't be the actual Terrence Ruffin. So you got to go with the original.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you are thinking, though. The taller athlete, just like with the Arnold and with Chris, that are going to be just
more demanding. Take up.
Yeah, they're going to command. There'll be more command. Yes.
So I've always said,
but at the same time, Alex, if there was a 6'2" Terrence Ruffin, there's no way that they would make the weight cap. For classic, if you want to be technical, right?
Okay, fair enough.
The same muscularity at 6'2", he would probably be like 260.
Makes sense. See, I was thinking.
Okay.
See, the way I look at the height,
so Sandy actually wins this
by default, technicality.
Yep.
No, but the reason I was saying that was because I feel like taller guys, they have the advantage, but it takes more time to get there. That's how I always viewed it. But I feel like just when you're taller, you take up more on stage. I think that's
Look at men's physique. Look at men's physique. Ryan Terry is in between tall and short. I'm between the tall and short. Banks is the only one I would say in the top 10 that doesn't fall in the range of, being within that mid class, like the class D at a national level show, because I feel like you're not too short and boxy, but you're not too tall and elongated. So you're in between that sweet spot of just having the fullness, the symmetry, the aesthetics for what the division actually is. So a lot of these guys like Brandon Hendrickson or a Ryan Terry, some of these just bigger names that are in that first call at the Olympia, a lot of them are more similar in height.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you just broke that down like that, there's not really many tall people in the top.
No, there's. I was just going to say, the top ones in the Olympia are all on the shorter side.
There's always an exception though, because Banks is taller, but at the same time, Banks and Raymond, they had a full look for a tall guy to where they didn't have many gaps. So that's the exception. But a lot of the taller guys, you will see more flaws in their physiques rather than the guys in the shorter classes.
Yeah, I agree, because they, like I said, you have more real estate. It's going to take longer to fill out,
Sandy,
especially to bring it all symmetrical.
Sandy, there was a lot of shit talking last year on social media from a lot of the men's physique athletes. I'm not sure how much you've paid attention to that back and forth, or at least how much you've heard about it at
0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Okay, so that then might answer my question. I'm not sure if you know that other judges might follow that kind of stuff, but does that at all ever get back to you guys? And does that, I'm not gonna say affect the placing, because I don't think that would be fair, but does that ever give you a different look of the athlete when you hear them maybe fighting back against a placing that they've got and they don't think it was fair, or they're arguing back with somebody else and taking low blows?
Yeah, if you talk, and I don't mean talk trash as far as like trying to get hype. Well, yeah, you know what I mean, like to hype up the contest or hype up, whatever the competition is, because there's a way to do that and not bring somebody down. Yes. I think it's when athletes tear each other down. Mm-hmm. Again, obviously judges you have to remember, judges are human.
Yeah. And,
when you have two exact physiques on stage that are exactly the same, and you want character, you know what I mean? You want somebody that's going to represent the sport. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's, if somebody's physique is better, it's just going to be better. That's, that definitely is not going to matter. But I just think as an athlete, again, if you're looking for sponsorship and you're looking to grow your own presence out there, tearing somebody else down is going to come back and bite you. Because I've seen I've seen it happen the other way. That that somebody that was at the top is now getting horrible comments back because of how they conducted themselves. So I just think going back to the whole thing about education and trying to teach athletes, because again, you want that, especially for men, you want that trash talk because that brings up hype and stuff, obviously. But there's a way to do it that you're not tearing somebody else down.
I was going to say, Sandy, this is a professional league. And if you look across the board at every single professional league, I think sometimes bodybuilders don't take their professional title as serious as other athletes. We have NFL owners that look down and they, like the Patriots organization, they don't let anyone say anything crazy. Like, if not, you're going to be cut from the team. Whenever it comes to the IFBB, you have every individual being their own team. And some people don't take the right route whenever it comes to social media or saying the things that they want to do. So for all the pros out there, I mean, it does affect you. Not only does it affect the IFBB, but it affects your own business and how people look at you and things down the road. So take that into account before you post that status or that story or that picture bashing other people or getting on judges and things like that, because everyone remembers your worst moments, not your best. So
and if I'm a company looking at, okay, I'm looking at these 5 or 6 people. Again, everybody, even when you go to HRs now, they all Google whoever the new hires that they're interviewing. I'm going to go with somebody that I think is going to represent my brand in a very professional way.
Yep, that makes sense.
Let's segue into that real quick. So there's not a specific like athlete manager or ambassador for the sport. We always talk about, this person would or could be a great ambassador for men's physique and whatnot. But in your eyes, what does a true professional look like for the sport? Let's just stick to men's physique. Just what is a true professional? And we've went back and forth on this in many different podcasts. Alex, Andre, what does a true professional look like in your eyes?
Well, obviously, I want to say obviously is at the top of his game, as far as competition and stuff, because that's what's going to get an athlete noticed. But the true professional to me is somebody that conducts himself, like I said, professionally, knows how to talk, knows how to represent the sport, and also gives back. I think the athletes that, and I don't just mean like coming, spending your own money and stuff, but, coming to the local shows, being willing to stand around and talk, because that's what I look at. I look at how athletes talk, to the fans coming up to them, especially the young, you know what I mean? Because you're our representatives for the sport. If a parent's this year I've had 5 or 6 parents contact me about their 15 and 16-year-old sons, that they were talking about how they could get them into competition. Because I think a lot of parents realize getting kids away from the technology, you know what I mean? Getting them in a physical activity and stuff. So if I'm a parent and I have a 15-year-old son and I'm going to a show and somebody doesn't have the time just to like say hi to my son or acknowledge him, that type of thing, to me, that's part of being a professional, part of representing, you know what I mean? Representing the sport.
Sandy, and you make such a good point there, because how I got into bodybuilding is there's a guy named Jason Huh. You probably remember him. He owns Steel Supplements, and I was working for a pet store, and this guy came in, and his forearm was like the size of my quad at that point. And I was like, well, I looked at him and I'm like, what are you taking, dude? Like, how do I get it? Where do I go for Vitamin Shop or GNC to look like you? And seeing this guy in person, how friendly he was talking to me, I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to look just like him. And that's how I actually got into the bodybuilding scene, is him coming into a pet shop. So I don't think a lot of athletes realize how much of a pull they have on this younger generation and what a role model you can be. But I hear the story across the board, Alex. I'm pretty sure you probably have somebody, Drew, you saw somebody maybe in the magazines back in the day that you saw that and you're like, hey, I want to be that guy. I think that makes a world of a difference. So Sandy, you saying people carrying themselves that way and being friendly, that's what brought me into it.
Yeah. Do you see?
No, absolutely.
Do you see Ryan Terry right now holding the crown with grace? Can you hear me, Sandy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. I've done, but Ryan has always carried himself. I've done a couple seminars. I had gone to uh London a couple years ago and did a couple seminars, like a seminar tour, thing, a round of seminars with, and Ryan was there at a couple of them, and he's another one. Flex Lewis was another one. He always, I mean, those are names that just come to my mind because again, as as a judge, when I'm backstage, I'm watching. I'm a nurse, so I'm very observant, and I'll be watching, and I notice how athletes interact with, hopefully I'm not going to say something that I shouldn't, but this is just it's just a funny story because last year I was at a show in Orlando, and I didn't know how young the girl was at the time. Okay. And she was obviously she had to be 18, but she came in and she was flustered because the bumper fell off her car and her chicken fell on the floor. And, she was just so Mo Newman and I were standing there. And then she looked out the window because the whole side of the building where we were was all windows. And she was like, oh my God. And I thought somebody hit her car now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, she turned her phone to us, and Lorelei Chapatos was her screensaver. And Lorelei was standing over there.
That's
and yes. And Mo said to this young lady, she said, would you want me to go? She was like, oh my God. She came to me the next day. And Lorelei sat there and talked to her for like 10 minutes. That made this young athlete, this 19-year-old, made her whole entire weekend.
That is awesome. That's again, that's impact.
Probably impacting her whole career too, because it's going to be something that she'll always remember and can be used as motivation,
Yeah.
And that's the power and seriously, and the responsibility that every athlete should have in the back of their mind. You know what I mean? When they're out and interacting.
I love that. Like I said, I had a pleasure of traveling international and competing internationally and seeing how the fans respond and react to the athletes. We are truly A-list celebrity in their eyes. And if we can give that moment to somebody here in the States, like you said, imagine the level of impact. So like you said, I've had it. I've said it, that's why it's cool that I'm even doing the podcast with Erin now, right? Like he walked up to me at the New York Pro. I was like, that was a cool moment. He validated, something for me in that moment. So, and I'm sure a lot of us had that. I remember Drew saying he wanted to stand on stage with Andre Ferguson, right? There were certain people that had that impact for him. Sandy, I know I totally keep you for about an hour. If you don't mind, I got a couple more questions for you. Keep it short. All right, perfect.
I'm fine. I don't walk my dogs till 6. You got me.
Perfect. The Arnold Classic. Are you judging this show?
Yes.
Okay, so we won't have any specifics.
I was just going to say, you can stop right there.
I was going to say, I can't say anything. Is there anybody you have high expectations for coming into the show? Can we ask that?
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch there.
Is there anybody specifically? Maybe you've seen them improve. Now you're looking for them to make the next step or solidify anything specific.
Well, always Brandon Hendrickson. He's always in great shape.
Absolutely.
Hunter, if he can just come in a tad tighter, he's another one that has so much potential.
Yeah.
But Palmyra, I judged him. He won. I think you.
Yeah, he beat me twice, same weekend. Yeah, Sandy, thank you for the bad memory.
Who was that?
Keep reminding him.
It was Sasquatch.
Who was that, Alex?
It was Sasquatch. Sandy judged. I think it was my second place in front of Sandy or something like that. But
you got two seconds from me.
Two.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. You know what? Speaking of that, you know what I remember that I should have valued more in the moment. I think as athletes, sometimes we don't turn our brains off. You said, Alex, take a seat. I've seen your physique enough times to now see that this is what fatigue and tired physique looks like. I remember you said that to me backstage one time, like, give your body a rest, come back, around whatever time it was, and step back on stage and show the judges that you made improvements. And my ego got in the way because I've gotten second place, third place. And I remember, and after the season, I said, I was like, I should have taken Sandy's advice. I should have taken her advice. She's seen me enough times, and I think a lot of times as pros, we justify with being in the conversation when sometimes judges have an opportunity to see they might be in the conversation, but that's also not their best. And I know they're going back.
Yep. Well, and Alex, I will tell you, if you're talking about one of the athletes that I've seen over my lifetime, I seriously, I think you have all the potential in the world. You have the frame. Go ahead. Is that what you
No, that's exactly what I said. I think that Alex has
we all agree.
potential.
We've been on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andre will be like, potential, and yell at us all. So,
nobody's ever won nothing on potential.
Yeah, but what's really nice though is Alex is building a business and making a future for his family and stuff. And I will tell you all this because everybody knows how I am about this. You said you have a son. How old?
He is 4 weeks old.
10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you'll meet him at junior 4 to 4 weeks. You'll meet him at junior nationals. That's why I had to take off last year from competing.
No, absolutely. And I will tell you, because people that are close to me know I lost my brother when he was 33 in a freak accident. And I will tell you, at a 4 and an 8-year-old, and I tell this to a lot of people that I know, that child is not going to care if you're not there, that there's millions of dollars in the bank.
Yeah.
They're going to remember the time that you spent with them. And I'm telling you, you can do both. You can find a balance. Absolutely. Oh my God, I'm so anxious now I can meet him.
Yes, I can't wait for you to get to meet him. And you said something in that my perspective has changed a lot, over the years. And more specifically, over the last couple of years. I've seen people like Jim Quintia, Aaron Banks, Ryan Terry. I've had in-depth conversations with them, because I always thought that having a kid, there was no way you could live the bodybuilding lifestyle, at least to the way that I was doing it before, like eat, sleep, breathe. That's all I focused on, prioritized, until I saw them doing it at the top level, specifically Ryan Terry. And then he was having a new baby, and it made me realize, like you said, there's more to bodybuilding. And you said something along the lines in our last podcast surrounding that, and hearing it from you guys really gave me a perspective, because when you're young and you're kind of just in the weeds of bodybuilding, like it's just eat, sleep, train, and then everything else comes second. But I think this new perspective and now this new motivation, new clarity, I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
I noticed that with you, Alex. I feel like last year or the year before, what was it? 2024 Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were chasing a look that you knew you weren't going to get because you knew you had time off, but you came so far to where you just wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
And ultimately you try to convince yourself that it was good enough, but you knew it wasn't good enough.
You're right.
But you needed that to happen to take that break, to be able to step back from it, kind of rethink all your priorities and responsibilities with your family. Now that you have a different purpose and different reasons. So now you're going to come back with the best coach for men's physique in the IFBB, Ariel. You have everything laid out for you, man, and I'm excited.
Is Ariel your coach? He's Ariel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of us.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's an amazing coach. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for this year. I got to find a show because I gotta get my win in front of you. I have like a bucket list of certain things that I want to do, and on that
to redeem.
All my bucket list is to get a win in front of Sandy. So it's going to happen before I hang up these damn board shorts. But
the last time I was in front of Sandy, I believe, was 2022. As far as you being the head judge, was in San Francisco Pro. Buhan won. It was a long time ago. That was my first call out ever in the Pro League.
Yeah.
So I was ecstatic.
So I gave you your first call out. So that's good.
First call out. Yeah. So I remember asking you for feedback, and it was a good show. It was a different perspective from what I'm used to in the East Coast and the Midwest. And, I enjoyed it, but Alex is always talking. He knows the looks that you like, and you explain that, and it would be cool to get in front of you when you're a head judge again. So maybe I'll make my way out there.
Here you go.
Well, Alex, wasn't it Edvon that beat? Yes. Yeah. And I will tell you, Tyler, again, from pictures, which don't tell everything, Tyler was like, I think you should have went with Alex. And I'm like, I'm telling you on stage.
Sandy. And then the first show in San Diego, it was I think I had it at prejudging according to the feedback, and then come finals, I lost it. And granted, Jonas looked really good. He came back in finals looking really, really good. But that San Diego battle was one of the funnest shows.
And what both of them had that you didn't have on those days. You did not have the conditioning.
Conditioning.
You had the structure, the development. Like I said, you looked at your physique and going, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be second," even though he's not in the best condition. But everything else took you above all those other guys that were there at that show.
Yeah, I remember you said something funny because you did hold us in San Diego for a long time. That was the longest I've ever been on stage. And you said something along the lines of, I wanted to give you the chance to tighten up. I wanted to see if you're going to tighten up. And then she was like,
but Jonas was the one tightening up when you didn't. Yeah. So it actually, it was at the wire, and it was like, oh, we're going to give him the chance. But you know what? But that's what it's about. That's what makes it fun. And I remember streaming that on my phone, and it went so long, my phone was dying, and I was like so anxious. I was sweating. I was getting ready to go to the gym, and I took pre-workout, but then this pose down lasted longer. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I had one of the best workouts after that. And to this day, it's probably the longest prejudging I've ever watched.
Sandy, will you do that? Will you hold people to try to like break them or try to see something specific?
Well, I mean, it was I don't do it to try to break somebody. I don't do. But it was so close between the two of you. And Jonas was, like you said, he was so much better conditioned, but I'm a structure person. And you know what I mean? But I knew in my heart on that day, even though, again, I thought you had much more potential, it had to be a little bit tighter.
Yep.
And, it was the same. And hopefully, again, I'm not sure when you cut this out, but I did the same, with Jeremy Buendia and Ben at the Sasquatch.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So was it the conditioning that separated it in person?
Yes. And I even said to Benquo, you're probably going to beat him at the Olympia because you're fuller, but today's day, Jeremy was better.
Yeah.
But then
when you say to the Olympia, is it the specific? But
then Jeremy did better at the Olympia, and
true.
I told you he was better.
True, but at the time when you say, okay, well, they're probably going to go for a fuller look at the Olympia, is that under the preference of what Tyler Mannion, the head judge, prefers?
No, you misunderstood. No, when I said to Benquo, I said you'll probably beat him because you do have the fullness, but you don't.
But he'll get tighter with more time.
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
This is not your peak look.
I got you.
That's what I said. That's your peak, but then he didn't bring a peak look to me either. Jeremy did.
Was Jeremy better at the Olympia?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
I think he was that much better than Sasquatch, but Benquo was the same from Sasquatch to the Olympia.
Yeah.
He didn't. I thought he was going to come in a lot more conditioned, and he did, because he's another one. He's got an athlete with so much potential.
Is it a conditioning thing, or do you think he has thicker skin in, let's say, his back, because his core is extremely sharp and dry? Is it just who he's next to that makes him look not as conditioned, just by maybe the texture of the skin?
I mean, that could be, because that happens with some of our women too. Yeah. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, you're right.
Because I know Ben is conditioned, because a lot of the times you'll see guys, and we go back and forth on this, like with detail conditioning, what is conditioning? Two guys could have the same percent body fat on a scale, but they could have two different looks. It could be the skin, it could be the fullness and all of that. But
and some
that's why I want to ask.
Thicker, some of the athletes do have thicker, obviously do have thicker skin. And so you're not going to see the detail. It's not going to look as conditioned as somebody else.
A perfect example of guys at the Olympia. You look at like Branch Warren or Dennis Wolf, guys like that just had paper thin skin. And then you have other guys like Sean Roden that he didn't really have paper thin skin, but he had very bubbly look, like just all put together. So we have tons of different looks, and you never know who's going to win on stage. It's a total package, like Sandy said at the beginning. If Ben came in a little bit tighter, you never know how that's going to go. So
a little bit tighter, he would. Seriously, he would have, because he had the fullness.
Structure.
But it's the same thing with Sean Roden. When Sean finally won, it was because he didn't have to be as conditioned as Branch Warren, but he had to be a little bit more conditioned than he was bringing, in previous shows. Yeah, and that's the same with Ben. Yeah.
We talked about this in the last time we did the podcast. I'm curious if your order is still the same exact. What is the most important? Well, in order, is it structure, conditioning, and size? How would you put those in order?
Oh my goodness gracious.
I think it
Um,
depends on the level that you're at, I would say,
yeah,
right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think especially for men and for some of for women for the figure, and women's physique and bodybuilding, is when you're at the Olympia level, you're going to have a certain amount of structure. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You do, but the rest of it, it's that determination and focus of the athlete.
Yeah.
Because I've seen athletes, at the over my 44 years, that you just know oh my God, they have all the potential in the world, and they can't bring it there. I still think the biggest thing is you have to have the full muscle bellies. To me, that that will, I mean, not all the time, but I think that will win out and give you more longevity in the sport than just hitting conditioning for one day.
I
Yeah,
like
I'm screwed.
All right. Sandy, we already kept you longer than I initially asked. Guys, you have any other questions you want to throw out?
I think we did
I
good,
had
man.
I had one more here that I actually thought about that I wanted to end on it.
Yeah, perfect.
I actually wrote a bunch of these out, so I wanted to make sure that I was getting back to these. So from your perspective, Sandy, what does the division of men's physique need more of right now to be better for the future?
Mm,
What is
That's a good question. Hard
Yeah,
question.
because I think men's physique is the is a great division.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's a very popular division. I mean, I think, young athletes can attain, can want to become like some of yous and stuff. I really,
Do you, mm,
I don't really know what could make yous better, because we've had so many amazing men's physique athletes, in the sport, and it still seems to be growing.
yeah.
I do like that. I really do like that. I like a lot of stuff Tyler does, but I really like that Tyler put the height and weight cap on it. So,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So at least it will limit to a certain degree, a certain degree.
Anything that you could give to a young athlete who's getting ready to start their bodybuilding endeavors, or even somebody who's getting ready to go into their second show ever, they're relatively a novice, from a judge's perspective, that they can take, doesn't have to be anything specific. It can be for bikini competitor, men's physique person, any piece of advice that you can give them from a judge's perspective as they're getting ready to take on their journey.
Take your time, enjoy the journey. Don't let anybody push you, especially as a young athlete. Seriously, find that balance. Stay in, go to college, you know what I mean? You can do both. And I think that's the biggest thing. You're only going to be 19, 20, 21 once. And you don't want to give up those years. And I know athletes that are at the top of their game that do both.
Yeah.
I have a young girl, Hope Harper, out of Reno, Nevada, that I think she got a pro card when she was like 19 or 20. She's been competing for a couple of years. She finished college, and that I would tell any of our young athletes. But enjoy the process.
Yeah.
You've already, especially the day of the show, you've done everything you can to get there. That you all know that day is going to go so fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your
And
whole career will go fast. Everything.
it
I
does.
started competing a while ago, and man, it feels like just yesterday I started this, and now I'm over a decade in. And I mean, Drew, you can attest to this because we were doing national shows back in 2017 together. I mean, that feels
Back
like
when you had to
yesterday,
put
right?
feet together straight on, and Steve would yell at you
Yeah,
at the angle.
yeah.
I'm
So
like, I'm never going pro if I got to do this.
Oh my
right? But
God.
how quick did it go? So it's like take it all
Yeah.
in, enjoy these times, because there's going to be a time where your shoulders are hurting a little too much, your knee is nagging, you're not going to be healthy, and it's not going to be as fun in the gym. Trust me. And that's one thing I was thinking about in the gym today. I was like, dang, I've had a good run, and this has been a great sport. So take it all in.
Absolutely. Can I end with one thing, though, if you don't mind?
Please
Of
do.
course.
Hey, first of all, thank you so much. I have a ball doing this with you guys. I'm serious. But Junior Nationals,
Yes.
37 pro cards, all the class winners, June 19th and 20th. in Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the class winners except for bodybuilding, and don't get on me why it just never had, it just doesn't. But all the class winners get a pro card, like I said, 37 of them, and that 8 men's physique and 8 bikini do have the option to step on this pro stage, if they want to, with the with the other pros. And Ashley Kaltwasser won the bikini last year, and
Benny
huh?
Benny won men's physique.
Yes, absolutely. And my head judge is going to be Becky Clausen.
Oh, okay, awesome. And again, as somebody who had athletes in the show last year, but was also there from a business perspective, the show was ran phenomenally. And one thing that I have to say, as somebody who's been in situations where shows weren't necessarily ran to at least what we would hope as athletes, this is not the case. It's a breath of fresh air. It's fluent, and also there's great competition as well. So make sure you bring your A game. It's going to be awesome.
You said 18 weeks?
Yeah, about 18 weeks. Drew, gonna do it? Drew?
You know what? I used to love doing junior nats because I'm from Chicago. And the years that I did it for 3 years when it was back in Chicago, and I placed third at every single one. And I'm like, you know what? I need redemption. So maybe it'll be one of those things.
Win the World Classic. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I just got to come out and show you a physique that says, hey, I'm winning, right?
Yeah,
that's all I got to do. Make your job easy.
And be careful. Do not overpose. As always, guys, we love you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Sandy, for, again, giving us all your wisdom. We appreciate you. And I'm sure we're going to be back on eventually. And as always,
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.